Hello, class. For this week, we're asked to discuss diversity in rural areas, besides the ones that were mentioned, and policy changes as well that affect diversity. So, the first one I want to discuss is senior citizens. Rural communities have a higher rate of older adults, which impacts the health care and resources for the community. I know in my small town we do have a higher rate of elderly people just because it is a smaller area. Elderly people tend to stay longer and they don't want to move and go to the bigger city because they grew up here and their families are located here as well. Younger individuals, according to the text, tend to migrate towards the bigger cities due to college or jobs, placement, things like that, just new experiences that they want to get in life in an urban area. So it can be harder for elderly adults to do things in the community, such as electronics, where a lot of elder adults, especially the ones that I know, are not the best with working technology because they grew up in a time where there wasn't things like that. I know I had to teach my grandfather how to work a phone, how to like a cell phone, how to text and things like that. If I was at school or at work and he needed me and I couldn't get to the phone, I had to teach him how to text. So a lot of healthcare places like doctor's offices and things like that, they tend to want you to check in when you get there on your phone. And some people won't know how to do that. So I think it makes it harder on older adults to be able to have access to healthcare. Also, transportation could be an issue. Some elderly people cannot drive, or due to their having impairs in their physical health, they're not allowed to drive anymore because of their vision or hearing or things like that. So it can be tough for them to find a ride to a place to get access to their health care or to other resources that they may need. I think that transportation in rural areas should be easier access for them, especially if they are needing some resources. Another diversity issue would be religion. In many rural areas, the community consists of people who are of the same type of religion. And if you're not of that same type of religion, you could be seen as an outcast or stranger, and people won't talk to you because you're just of a different religion or culture. And to them, that's just not heard of in their community, especially in a community like mine. Everybody here is predominantly Christian and mostly Baptist, and if you're of a different type of religion, they don't think that they can conversate with you or have a good conversation with you because of their beliefs. And it can be difficult for the community to accept you and help you and offer you resources, because I know a lot of places around my area are faith-based resources. And I've seen other interns who intern at places that are faith-based, and they tend not to give the same resources to everyone because they're faith-based, or they treat them like an outcast because they're a different religion, or they just don't believe at all. A good policy change, I think, for the age for the senior citizens, just like on page 113, it has the story about Martha and how she was unable to get to the main office in person, and it was required that she does that, but she lived on a giant mountain, I believe, and she was unable to get down to the office because the person who gave her a ride couldn't do that because of the weather conditions. And they required that you come in person. And also, even after she was to get put into that program, there was a waiting list. And due to the backed up waiting list, it would have been months before she even got services. And I think the policy affects who the agency treats and when they treat them. And I think that it should have been easier for Martha to get transportation or do a different way over the phone or something like that because she was unable to get transportation to the agency. And this is seen in a lot of cases that they want them to show up in person, especially for the first appointment. And if they're unable to make those appointments, there's not really much that they can do. And it didn't really go into detail about how good Martha is with the computers, but I've seen people do things like over video call or something like that to get them to do the intake. And I think that it should just be more easier accessible for older adults who are unable to travel or don't have transportation or can't drive because of their health. So I think there should be a policy change, such as letting them do over the phone interviews, providing their information that way, and then once they can get down to the office to be seen in person, they're able to do that. And I know some places are lenient, some places are not, but I think that certain places should have different ways about going about it if they're unable to get there in person to do that sort of thing. I know in my area, almost everything is done over the phone or with technology now. Everything. And it's mostly on a website where you check in. I know my doctor's office has me check in on my phone when I come in. And I've never seen them give out an actual paper to check in. They have tablets or a phone to check in. And I think there should be a way that they could do it on paper, or that option, in case elderly people are unable to operate their phone like that or the tablet that's given to them. And then I think that is also the case for people who speak a different language, because my doctor's office has options for Spanish or American, but I'm not sure about other languages. So I think they should offer all services in different languages, and it makes it difficult for those who speak a different language, who are elderly, or who just aren't sure or don't know their way around things.